Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the scientific magic that's hiding behind some of our coolest, most futuristic tech.
Okay, so think about this for a second. How does your phone charge without a cord? Or how does an induction stovetop heat up a pan with no flame? I mean, it really does seem impossible, right? Like energy is just, poof, appearing out of thin air.
You know, all these things, your wireless charger, that induction cooktop, your tap-to-pay card, even that electric toothbrush charger, they all feel like their own little piece of magic. But get this, they, and even those giant transformers you see on power poles, are all running on the exact same core principle. It's not magic at all. It's a fundamental law of physics discovered almost 2 centuries ago. So yeah, it's about time we pulled back that curtain.
All right, to really get this, we have to jump in our time machine and go all the way back to the 19th century. We need to meet the guy who first cracked this code, Michael Faraday. And what a story. He was a self-taught son of a bookbinder who, just through pure curiosity and some brilliant experiments, literally changed the world.
So the story really kicks off in 1820. A guy named Hans Christian Oersted discovers that an electric current can actually move a compass needle. Whoa! So electricity creates magnetism. Naturally, everyone in the scientific community starts asking, okay, can we do it the other way around? Can a magnet create electricity? And for a whole decade, they tried everything. They put the strongest magnets you can imagine right next to wires, just waiting for something to happen. And nothing. The breakthrough, the big aha moment, came in 1831 when Michael Faraday figured out what everyone was missing. It wasn't about the magnet itself, it was about movement.
Okay, so here's what he did, one of his most famous experiments. He took an iron ring and wrapped 2 separate coils of wire around it, on opposite sides. Now, when he hooked up the first coil to a battery, he saw a tiny, super brief surge of current in that second coil. But then, just as quickly, it was gone, dead. But then, when he disconnected the battery, he saw another little surge, but this time in the opposite direction.
And that was it. That was the Eureka moment. A magnet just sitting there does nothing. A steady, constant electric current also does nothing. But a changing current, well, that creates a changing magnetic field. And that is what induces a current in that second coil. It's all about the change, the movement, the flux. That's the secret sauce. Faraday had this great name for it, a wave of electricity.
And look, this was way more than just some clever lab trick. This discovery was so profound, so fundamental, that it became a cornerstone of modern physics. We're talking about a law that would completely define how we generate and use energy, right from that moment on.
Okay, before we get into the law itself, we need to quickly talk about one little concept, magnetic flux. I know, it sounds super technical, but don't worry, it's actually pretty simple. Just picture a loop of wire. Magnetic flux is basically just a measure of how much of that magnetic field is passing through the loop. The more field lines you can cram through that area, the higher the flux. That's it.
And that brings us right here to Faraday's law of induction. The law itself is so elegant. It's simple, but incredibly powerful. It just says that if you change the magnetic flux going through that wire loop, and it doesn't matter how, you can move the magnet, you can move the wire, you will create a voltage. And of course, a voltage pushes a current. Want more power? Want a bigger voltage? Just make that change happen faster. Simple as that. That's the whole secret.
So, we've got this beautiful, simple law. Now let's see how this one idea scales up. And I mean way up, from a little tabletop experiment to the very foundation of our entire modern world. And seriously, that is not an exaggeration. Think about it for a second. Every single major power plant, I don't care if it's hydro, nuclear, wind, or coal, they all do one thing. They turn a turbine. That physical motion, that spinning, is used to turn massive coils of wire inside a huge magnetic field. And it's Faraday's law, right there, that does the magic trick of converting that raw motion into the electricity that lights up our homes and cities.
And here's where things get really, really clever. You've heard of AC, alternating current, which is what comes out of your wall sockets, and DC, direct current, which is what you get from a battery. Well, it turns out the way we generate them both starts with the exact same principle. You spin a coil in a magnetic field, and what you naturally get is AC. To get DC, you just add this brilliant little mechanical switch, a commutator, that flips the current around every half turn. So while the outputs are different, the core physics, that deep-down principle of induction, it's exactly the same.
Induction is also the secret behind our entire power grid. You see those big gray cans on power poles in your neighborhood? Those are transformers. And they're really just a beefed-up, modern version of Faraday's original iron ring experiment. The AC current flowing in one coil creates that constantly changing magnetic field. That, in turn, creates a current in the second coil. And by simply changing how many loops of wire are in each coil, we can step up the voltage really high to send it across the country with less energy loss, and then step it down to a safe level right before it comes into your home. It's brilliant.
But okay, this story doesn't just end with power grids and cool gadgets. The impact of Faraday's discovery went so much deeper. I mean, it didn't just give us new toys and tools, it fundamentally rewrote our understanding of the universe itself.
For starters, all of Faraday's hands-on experimental work became the foundation for James Clerk Maxwell's famous equations. We're talking about the 4 equations that perfectly describe all of electricity and magnetism, and as a bonus, they revealed something mind-blowing, that light itself is just an electromagnetic wave.
But maybe the most profound legacy of all is this. A young Albert Einstein was obsessed with Faraday's law. He couldn't get over this one beautifully simple fact. You get the exact same result whether you move a magnet toward a wire or you move the wire toward the magnet. The only thing that matters is the relative motion between them. And this wasn't just a minor curiosity for him. Einstein himself said that thinking about this was one of the principal paths that led him directly to one of the greatest scientific revolutions ever, the theory of special relativity. Just wow.
Isn't that just incredible when you think about it? From one simple observation about a changing field, we got electric generators, the entire global power grid, and even a key insight that helped unlock the secrets of space and time with relativity. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the next invisible force, the next seemingly simple discovery that's just waiting out there to change everything all over again?